So I have mad beef with this quick drop game's jackpot because I can never seem to win it. I blame my terrible eyesight. But I'm an engineer, and I'm not above cheating, so I'm absolutely going to be abusing my power to fix my problem. First, I'll be needing something to replace my finger, since mine is apparently broken, as it can't seem to get the balls in the basket. So, I'll be upgrading my useless human finger to a solenoid that's also apparently very fun to play with. Just not this one, since while it's very cute and small, it only produces about 0.5 newtons of force, so it's about as useless as my real finger. So instead, I'll be using this much bigger, less cute solenoid that can manage about 5 newtons of force, which, according to ChatGPT, should be enough to push the button down. I'll also be needing something to replace my slow human brain with and to control my replacement finger, so I'll be going with the ATtiny85, my favorite microcontroller, which actually brings us to today's sponsor, me. It's just me. I don't have any real sponsors yet. Because unlike past me in this clip here, still having to program this little guy like a caveman, future me has made a much cleaner way to program this thing that you can find on my Etsy in the description below, so that nobody has to use up an entire breadboard and fool around with wires that will eventually become misplaced just to be able to program the best little guy on the market. But anyway, after playing around with the solenoid some more because I was paranoid that the full 5 newtons of force would damage the button and I'd be locked up for arcade button damage, I decided to try to cut the voltage down to 6 volts so that the solenoid could instead only produce about 1 newton of force. This decision did not last long, but with the hardware figured out, next I worked on gathering some very interesting data for the code. And after learning way more about this arcade game than I probably ever wanted to know, apparently there are a few specific patterns that you can do to win based off of the current jackpot amount, since that seems to dictate the speed of the rotating baskets and the difficulty of the game. But since I'm greedy and I just want to make sure that my new finger brain combo gets the jackpot every time, I just went with the method that seems to work in the most use cases, which seem to be trying to get 4 balls into each basket as the thingy rotates. So, after wiring up all of the less exciting components, and more research where I timed and jotted down some wait times between sets of 4 button presses from other people playing the game on my small whiteboard like a true professional, I was able to get Baby Girl programmed and start the testing. Now, I didn't exactly have an entire quick drop machine in my house to test this on, so first I tried it with my keyboard and an emulator someone made on Scratch, but as you can imagine, that wasn't exactly very accurate. So instead I just decided to try and sync this thing with the button presses of someone playing the actual game in a video. And honestly, I think my new finger and brain combo are looking pretty competent. So I started on getting this bad boy assembled by bending the pins into place on my dip connector, so that I'm able to take off the microcontroller just in case my flawless code needs to be edited at any point with my dirty tweezers. I also had to do this for my vision for this thing's assembly, since I was too lazy to design an actual PCB for it. So after getting that absolute nightmare of a soldering job done, next, I basically toss all that work out the window because it didn't work anyways. Apparently, the solenoid and the microcontroller did not like sharing the same power source, since both the relay driving my solenoid and the 5-volt linear regulator that was preventing my ATtiny from frying was causing a voltage drop. Luckily, to fix this, I only had to add a 1000 microfarad capacitor. At this point, I also decided to screw the button safety, since at this point I was now paranoid that only 1 newton of force wouldn't be enough to push the button. So, I replaced the other battery with this beefy boy. Now, all I have to do is find a way to conceal this thing in my sleeve, since I'd rather not be kicked out of the arcade for being a dirty cheater. And this will work with this particular baggy hoodie that I luckily already had, but right now, it's not exactly very discreet like this, so I just decided to tape it all together so that I didn't have to dedicate all of these expensive parts to this one project, and added watch straps so that I could keep it snug against my wrist. I also glued a neodymium magnet to the side for style, so that the solenoid could be hidden with the rest of the build. And with my sleeve pulled all the way up, I think we're looking pretty discreet now, which means it's time for the moment of truth. No telling. Oh, it didn't work. The solenoid was not strong enough to push the button all the way down. ChatGPT lied to me again. But that's okay, because this is a learning experience. Not every invention is meant to work the first time. And no, I'm not just saying that to make myself feel better, but just in case if I am, you can make me feel better by checking out this next video.